No.
Hey guys, and welcome to the Art of Zen podcast. My name is Lauren Calloway, and I am your host. Many of you know that I am a business and wellness coach, and on the wellness side, I specialize in yoga, sound healing, Reiki, aroma touch technique, anything that satisfies that spiritual aspect of yourself. And so today I've got a special guest. Anita, do you want to say hello and introduce yourself?
Hi, so I'm Anita Hodges. I'm energetically or professionally a hairdresser, but energetically, I'm a light worker, light language artist, light code activator, channeler, generator, all of the above. So,
I love that. I forget that like the generator thing being that generator. I'm leaning into that too because people keep asking me from that test, like, "Oh, are you?" And I'm like, "Yeah, just constantly in this generation mode." So Anita, today, to break down what we're going to talk about light language, correct?
yes, yes.
All right. So, what is light language? Let's start right there.
So do you want to hear how it happened?
Sure,
How
let's all the things. Let's start with what to you is light language, and then let's talk about how it became you.
light language is gibberish.
I
It is an energy, a vibration, a frequency that kind of think of like when the Tower of Babel fell and everybody spoke in different languages.
Yeah.
It is ethereal language of all people. So it is the accumulation of all of the dialect rounded up into one that if you're not tapped into the light, you're not going to understand what it's going to sound like gibberish, honestly. But it's a little bit of everything because it's about DNA activation and clearing chakras and attuning you to a higher frequency to be able to reside in that frequency and not just tap in and tap out. Does that make sense?
Absolutely on my end. I'm attuned to it. Actually, I got attuned, I don't know, three before I moved to Charlotte. So I've been here 2 years, so maybe 3 or 4 years ago. And you're right, it does sound like gibberish, but it
Yeah.
is an intuitive practice. It's one that kind of asks you to sit with what is being taught to you. If you sit with God, then that's just additional language to you. So go ahead and tell us how you got into it yourself.
Okay. So, well, I do tie dyes. That's just something I do. Like, I'm not really like a constructed tie dyer. Like, I'm not going to fold a spiral and then color it like a rainbow. That kind of irritates me because there's no art form in it. I just kind of let it happen. Like I always say, it's of me, but not by me. And I go vending, and I was at a hippie fest in last October in Salisbury, and I tend to astroplane and leave my body a lot when I sleep. And so I left my body and I went to Source, Father God, whatever you want to call it. And he told me that he was going to bestow a great gift upon me that I would always have. And it was something that was going to be a tool of service and something that I needed to gain at this moment. And I had just come out of a bunch of pivotal shadow work. And what I pulled up in the inner manifested in the physical, put me in the hospital with a cyst, and then it ruptured 3 days later. And so, like, I'm at this hippie fest, and there's a chief there, and he's like, anybody wants to get smudged? I literally was running to the bathroom, opposite direction of the teepee. I ran to the teepee and said, I need to be smudged. And he smudged me. And so this happened that night after he had smudged me. And so when God told me to go back to my body and I was laying there, it was like all of a sudden my hands were moving in ways that I didn't know, I didn't understand, and my mouth was speaking a language I've never spoke. And I didn't really know what it was at first. Like I come Southern Baptist and that kind of stuff, been in a lot of different churches growing up, definitely more spiritual than religious. And so coming from that, the only thing I could equate it to was speaking in tongues, you know, and that was it. And then I went and I asked the Indian chief and I said, what is this? And he goes, well, that's a gift from God. That's because the dark can't understand what you're saying. And so it's something you're going to need to continue to work with the light.
Mm.
And okay, so I accepted that. And just kind of, it kept just coming out of me for a couple of months, just at random. Just I would be meditating and I'd come out of meditation and woo, there it is. and still trying to figure it out. And then I met someone who became my partner for my podcast, Dan. And he was like, oh, well, this makes me think of Light Codes by Aaliyah. But I didn't even tell him that I was speaking it because I was drawing it too, like interactively making art that looked like it. And he goes, oh, you should check out Althea because this is what this seems like. And so I checked out her art and I was like, wow, this is kind of what this is, because the art felt like energy flow. And then it was like the 4-4 portal and everybody coming together at 4 to have a world prayer, to the vibration. And I participated in that. And when I did that, and there was like 8 split screens and all the people were talking, Althea was there. And I just tapped into her because that I just felt like aligned with her. And when she started speaking, when she was speaking light language, I actually understood what she was saying. And at that moment that I was like, oh, so that's what this is. And so about the same time, I started using my pendulum more, and I tapped into my spirit guide, who is Kyra. And Kyra was like, you need to be doing this, and you need to do this, and you need to practice this, because we don't come out of the womb learning how to ride a bike. We got to sit up, crawl, turn over, walk, run, then ride the bike. And so basically get your training wheels. So I started speaking it and just speaking it and recording it and speaking it and recording it. And then started speaking it when I was doing the tie-dyes. And all of a sudden these crazy, amazing things started coming out in images. And everybody, when they see them, they feel like the light energy from them. And I was like, oh, okay. And then I went to a gathering with Leah. It was one of those mini retreat. I think it was mini retreat, first one we did at the Mindful Academy.
Yeah.
And afterwards, I just looked at Leah and I was like, so I'd messaged her before and I said, don't think I'm crazy, but I'm supposed to speak light code to you. And she was like, dude. And then she shares with me that she'd been writing it all of a sudden. And so not knowing what I'm doing or how to do it, I just kind of hold her hands and we just kind of breathe together, and I spoke it to her. And she just was like, wow, I felt that. Like we felt like the transference of energy while we were speaking, while I was doing it. And then after it, it's like things just started to open up for her. And then it just, spirit would lead me to another person to do that with, and another person. And it's every person that I've light code activated is now either speaking it, drawing it, or singing it, and has extra sensory perceptions and pivotal things happening within their lives. So that just lets me know it's something I'm supposed to keep doing.
I love that. What a beautiful story. And I think it just is a testament to how we as a collective just help each other thrive through our gifts and our talents, And so if somebody wanted to get into this, like, what do you suggest? How do you tap in?
I would say talk to somebody who speaks it, maybe, like reach out, talk to somebody who's speaking it. But there's lots of TikTok where they don't really censor, that was the topic that came up this week with my clients and me. And it's like, why are they against TikTok so much in this country? And it's like, because they can't control it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So why is the government going to put a restraining order on a app? And it's because they can't control it, because you can actually get to the truth over there. So there's lots of them on TikTok, and you can just kind of Google it and just watch some videos and see if it resonates with you or doesn't resonate with you, or you can reach out to somebody like me who's doing it and see, what it sounds like, or if it's something that, for me, it's always spirit led. If my, guide tells me that I'm supposed to do that for somebody, I'm going to offer it whether they ask me for it or not, because
Yeah. So have you been, who's your next person? Has there anybody come up for you to work with next?
So I did Leah, and then I did Nevada.
Oh, fun. So now, is Nevada utilizing it? Are you guys working together more?
Yeah, so she is actually on TikTok singing light code as she's getting it down. So she messaged me a couple of weeks ago and was like, so I was just sitting there and I was, singing, and all of a sudden light code came out and I started singing it. And I was like, that's amazing, because I all of a sudden started singing it too, instead of just saying it. And Brittany's going through, some personal upheaval stuff now, and it really gave her balance to work through some stuff. Like, it helped open up her solar plexus. It helped bust open. And I did it a second time. And when I did it the second time, it busted open with her heart chakra. And she started having some really prolific visions. Dan, my DNA Wake Up podcast partner, I did it for him. And he's been like, it's really busted open his suitcase. He's got packed up of all this little baggage, and he's having to unbaggage it one by one because it's bringing it to the surface. It's the obstacles in the way. I feel, well, I know because I got this pivotal download like 2 weeks ago, and it was like, since 2008 and when I woke up, I really feel like the collective has been about the we. We've all been energetically tapping into the collective consciousness and trying to raise the awareness of all and raise the energy of all and raise the light of all, even those that are still asleep. Everybody tapped in as a we. And the message that I received was that we have hit a pivotal frequency mark in Gaia that has never been done since the history of man. And we blocked it in. Yeah. So locked in place. This transcendence is on the way. Now, whether it takes 2 years, 10 years, 100 years, or 1,000 years is up to us, except for it's not up to us as the we, it is up to us as the I, which can be a little confusing when it's all been about the collective. And now it's about the individual. But the message was, when we get to the loading dock, whatever train, plane, or automobile that we're going to transcend out of here on, whatever vehicle that may be, there is only space for you and you alone, and no suitcases. And the suitcases are all the things you haven't unpacked from trauma. It's not items and things, it's inner. And you have to have them all opened up, because the way that we help the transcendence in the collective at this point is working on the I. And the only way to really do it is get to the point of unconditional love for self. Now, you can have love for self, that's one thing, but unconditional love for self, who has that? You always have like, oh, I love myself when I lose 5 pounds. I love myself if I get this job. I love myself if my partner's happy with me. There's always like stipulations and constraints, and what is it that's etherically keeping you from loving yourself? And it's just your baggage. So if you suitcase one at a time and get it empty and open, then there is nothing to stop you from unconditionally loving yourself. And we're programmed to think that unconditionally loving ourselves is like arrogant or conceited, or if I had $1 for every time I got told I needed some humility. Confidence is not lack of humility, but if you're confident in something, then you're not humble. And it's like, no, that's not, they no, but that's that programming. Yeah. We're not taught in school to access and guide these gifts. We're taught programming to keep us away from them.
Amen.
Not to be.
No, I agree. I couldn't agree more. It's funny because you and I had talked, and I said, I noticed that I speak in tongues, and I know I have a certain like phrase that I say, especially when like I'm in like a mood and I'm kind of like a oy vey, but that's kind of like the ultimate meaning, but it's not oy vey, it's just something else. And kind of going back to Nevada, I too probably like right after you and I had our conversation about getting on the cast, where I started having a moment where I was singing and I was like, this is different. This is very different. And I don't sing for people, number one, because that's just not what I do. But in my spare time while I'm praising God, I had that moment where I was like in Bible study and just kind of reading through things, and I just started singing out, and it was just so different. And it just again goes back to us connecting and the awakening that it does through our connections. But for me, as you said, we have been in this hefty we space where we're working together, we're elevating each other, we're collaborating as much as possible. But I too know that even for me, this last 2 years has been so much about other people. And then I lost 3 people, and lately I lost business partnerships, I lost material things, I lost relationships. And I was just like, the other day, I was like, God, why do you have me so alone, feeling lonely and alone? And he was like, I'm getting you ready. I'm getting you ready. I'm clearing you out. I'm showing you the things you still need to work through and work on, and like making you realize that like there's still stuff in the closet, kind of like you said, like there's still stuff packaged up that we need to work through and cleanse and pure and gain purity into your soul a little bit more. It's like you're doing great. You're doing the most. Like I'm proud of you, but there's still work to be done. And so I too have been feeling into that. I think I put a post up about it, but it's like that I'm not alone, like the energy is there, God's energy, the angels, like it's all there, the connections to the people, but there's just so much work that I need to focus on, and there's a revitalizing of my soul, so to say, that comes with it, where it's clearing and cleansing, so that way we can be the best leaders moving forward that we can be for the collective, as when we come back into the space of serving. And so I look forward to more light language, or coming through and just kind of leaning into whatever that teaches me. I really enjoyed the singing part of it the other day. Like I said, singing to other people's thing, but that was really fun to sit there and just kind of like feel like I was praising the Lord, and just sounding just full of life again. Lately, just I haven't had a lot of life feeling in me, with a lot of loss and some stress, but I can tell that it was like, when was it? So we had the resonance was like hit that like whole new coding, what was it, like 2 months ago, but we had like a double eclipse going on. It was just like a woo 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 shit show of a thing kind of vibe, and everybody's up in the air and down on the ground and crying in their corners, and the energy is still in that space. Like it's still extremely intense. I was saying to you, like before we went live, like even today, I woke up with like something talking, like this pressure in my ear, like something is trying to bust through. And even now it's like trying to talk. It's like, oh yeah, 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 yeah. So it's there's just so much going on around us energetically. And I just look forward to experiencing more of the awakening that it does, and the more of the beauty that it offers through all of our gifts, and light language being one of them. So when you do light language, when you're because I do a little doodle, but like doodling's not quite, is it quite the same as doodling? Like what would you say when it comes to light language?
So, like with me, like, so I've been doing these tapestries, and anybody who knows my tie-dyes knows I'm like upcycle. I make old clothes new. That's my thing. But I always put intent in them. And so they usually find the person who's supposed to wear them. And then when they wear them, they're like, I don't know why, but every time I wear that dress or every time I wear that shirt, I have a fabulous day. I feel like the universe is speaking to me. And it's kind of like I light code and activate this stuff. But I started doing trees, and they're not my thing to do. And I just folded some stuff like in a way that nobody ever folds it, and I dyed it, and I got these prolific things out of it. And I was just like, and my spirit guide was like, this is light code. This is light code activation. This needs to be seen by the masses. When they see this, they'll feel it. It'll activate them. And that's what I meant by being a generator. Like I'm one of those people that I just enter the room and my light affects. I don't have to say, I don't have to interact. My light just affects. Talking about the human design thing, but I am a generator on there too. But yeah, so it's like that. Like I just generate light. And for the longest time, that was my biggest obstacle. Because of that, I would get those mirror effects and those responses back. And I'm like, why is it so hard for someone to like me? Why is everybody against? And it was like, oh, you just trigger everybody. Okay, I got you. So I spent a long time just dimming that light, and then going through the shadows, and then getting to this moment of healing before the light. When the light language came was about the time that I was like, I'm just going to start handing out sunglasses if it's too bright here, because I can't, you know. So it's the light. It's I can light code you right now if you want. That's how it's like second nature to me at this point, because I've done it so much, and I've done it like in my sleep, and I've done it while I'm driving, and I've done it while I'm channeling, and it's just something I can tap into now. But like I said, it's like riding a bike. If you don't tap into it, if you don't practice it, you're not gonna get it. But when it started with the doodle, do you remember those little black cards you could scratch off, and they had like color underneath?
Yep.
Okay. Sitting in my lap, and I'm meditating. I'm in a deep meditative state. And I've got like a little crochet tool because it was the winter and I was knitting hats. And I literally started scraping out images and flicking them. And by the time I came out of this meditative state, there was 50 of them all over the floor. And when I put them together, they made a bigger picture. And when I'm looking at them and I'm just like trying to figure out what's going on here, and it was like, it looked like energy to me, like the flow of energy. And that was before I knew what everything was. And I started showing them to a few people and just saying, well, what do you think about this? I can't figure it out. Is it like an ink block test? Is my psyche trying to do something here? And it was like, even my most like abstinent, non-believing, hardcore, negative client took 3 out of it and was like, I see God and an angel. And her attitude changed and she quit being negative. And I went, there's something here. I don't know what this is, you know?
Yeah.
Game. But it's almost like once it's enacted, it's like you can't go back.
Yeah.
You go forward. Wherever you were like stalled, it opens it up and makes it not stalled anymore. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. I love that. How beautiful is that too? Number one, I celebrate you for recognizing the bright light that you are, because we as a a collective, a society, we tend to get scared of that, and we tend to put ourselves down and not love ourselves wholeheartedly. I too am in that space of just being myself and being the most and letting it all just be at this point, and expressing it right wholeheartedly, and being proud of like the strength and the brightness and the love, and not knowing that it's not cockiness, it's not arrogance, it's just this internal strength that God gifts you when you are just super dedicated to, serving the people, serving yourself, and serving God as a whole. And so I love that for you. And I thank you for instilling that confidence in the listeners as well, because so many of them are probably going to, open up and spread their little wings. And then, I love just the fact that you said that it changed someone's perspective when they were having a rough day. And so, really want to encourage the listeners, like maybe lean into the light language and find somebody, check it. Do you do it on your YouTube page right now?
So I'm getting ready to start TikTok and I'm getting ready to go daily with light codes.
So make sure you're following her, so that way, if you want to kind of have that mood shift, if you want to get that elevation, it's like taking the red pill, it's the red or blue pill. You take the pill and then there's no return. And I love that concept, because we all are trying to do is elevate everybody into a better state of being. And so thank you for sharing your medicine. And I wanted to see if there was anything you wanted to do, light code wise. Was there something coming through for you today?
The fun thing is that like before I got on, I was talking to my spirit guide, and my spirit guide's like, okay, so Lauren's been activated, but she's not really practicing and she needs a kickstart. So I was like, okay, so the thing is I'm going to give you a kickstart, something to help just kind of make the flow more often for you.
Okay.
And hope you enjoyed the singing part. Hopefully this will take you to a singing level. So
I'm just like blushing, because I'm like, no way. No.
So a little blue avian in with this, which the blue avians are the 11th dimension. They're very high beings. They're the bird beings, think Ra, and so they have a little tweety kind of sound. So it'll be a little bit fun to have the of the languages, but they just kind of all flow together. But the whole focus of it basically is I just want to open you up to the possibilities of what's to come, because God has cleared your space. Because hold on, let me end this call, come through, send a voicemail. Okay. Are you there?
Yes, ma'am. We're here.
Okay. So God is cleaning house, because you can't be ready for what he's got in store for you if you are all booked up, right? He's cleaning out avenues of everything for you to open you up for what's to come. You got to have the space available for the new. That's the clearing of the house, right?
Yeah.
So this is to help you with the attraction of the new that's supposed to be there, and the opening up of you to help you get rid of a little bit more baggage. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So usually what I tell people to do is to just close their eyes and take a deep breath. And what I want you to do is focus on your breath for just a minute, how it flows in and out of you. And I want you to go to the space where you see like that little pinhole of light through your third eye, where you have the little dot of light. And if you sit there and just for a moment and just breathe in and out and relax, the light will come as it always does. And once you get your little pinhole of light, what usually happens is it starts out just like just a little light, and it's usually white or gold, depending on where you're at. And once you get that focus point, I start and we'll see what the light does by the end of it. Usually people have like bursts or colors, and usually the colors indicate where they were blocked and what chakra it focused on, because it kind of goes where it's needed. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Okay, so we're just going to take some deep breaths and just take it in through your nose and out through your nose and just kind of relax. And just let it flow. And here we go. Isamana tutori ha kitise etotoro hodoria patir ke samanata tia etotoroya e porya kirisama itiya putotoro yetitia o saparia teria teria ketena no tutoria ha e porya karise te terama ho diseketia e porya ha kisama hikrieti tutoria patia setia tutoria pa e porya kirine eteria teraboria. Esa mahakiri abudia ziliet turmoyekiria ibrahakiria. There you go.
I love it. I felt just this like overwhelming sense of like joy in my body. And tingles, obviously kind of like a flushing kind of sense, like of tingles. So it like head to toe, got a little warm and like tingly. And it just was like, pretty much for me, it was like that cleansing. It was like, I'm just cleansing you and cleaning you and creating space for you. So, and then pretty much that little point burst open into a big point, a big thing
Yeah,
on
that's what,
the face.
yeah.
And mine was definitely, it started white and then kind of went between gold and then kind of was like this clear, like this whitish gold kind of sprinkle sparkle kind of vibe. So yeah, that was a lot of fun. Like I just had just like a really great smile on my face. With so much loss in this last year, I haven't felt a lot of joy lately, and so I felt an overwhelming sense of joy even right now. I'm still kind of a little warm and like tingly from it. So thank you for that.
Welcome. It should for a little bit too. It's so I explain it like the way that I get downloads. Like when I get a pivotal download, I don't know what it is. I'm claircognitive, so I have the gift of knowing, but I won't know what it is for 24 to 72 hours. And I explain it like, you're like this superhuman computer, and you have these zip drives, and your compressor has to unzip them before you can get the information, and then the information just spews all at one time. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Usually it's like that joy, that happiness, that cleansing. That was kind of my wish for you, for your loss, is a healing and a clearer, just allow you to accept the space and accept what comes in this space future, because there's big things on your horizon, big things coming in. I feel it with you. And so just to kind of prepare, and any kind of blockages you might have that you're unaware of, just to kind of bring them up, but to do it with a gentle hand, because I feel like we've all had so much forcefulness, especially since that double eclipse stuff, that a little bit of just kid gloving would be nice. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think that's even what I'm trying to do with myself more. I woke up a little late today and I was just like, man, I haven't been waking up early like I like. And it's like, well, maybe you need the rest, and trying to like love where I'm at, be okay, get accomplished what I can within the day and then let it go. And so yeah, I'm like you, I'm a knower. I know too much sometimes. I feel too much. Sometimes I can see into the future and hear into it. And it's just a blessing to have those gifts bestowed upon me. And even if I don't like it today. So but thank you so much for that. That was such a really created so much joy in my heart. And like right now you can see it all over my face. There's just a happiness that I haven't felt in a while. So
That's
so,
table is the joy and the happiness and the love, you know, like that's my kind of light. I'm not a harsh one at all, but I need it. But that's what I try to embody to people is just, God is such a beautiful thing and you're all part of him and we're all energetically him. We all make up the single cells that come together to make up the collective, that make up the body. And so part of him, so he's in us and we're in him, and what he can do, we can do. We just have to believe it, get out of our own way. And to tap into the source of that is, just to feel his unconditional, just unwavering, just love, is pretty amazing. And if I can impart that in anyone and let them feel that, that my purpose is served. I used to say, I talk to God before, like in the snooze, before I have the coffee, before my feet hit the street, I talk to God.
yeah.
I surrender and I say, use me as your megaphone, your microphone to do your bidding and your will. And some days I'd get home and I couldn't even tell you whose hair I did or what the conversations were because it totally wasn't me. I was just a conduit. And so my favorite saying is, I gotta get talk to God before my feet hit the street, and the devil says, "Oh shit, she's up," because now he's worried.
Love it, because I feel that same way. There's definitely those of us who I was like, oh, you're all about to go down and show up and show out, and he's over there laughing, because he knows like I sent out the A game team over here, and so I have those moments too where especially lately, as I've been at God asked me and I asked God. I just keep saying, I want to draw him closer. I want to draw him closer. I want to draw him closer. How much closer can I get at this point? That I wake up in the morning and I'm like, let me have the conversation and be in the spaces that you need me to be. And
Yes.
So I love that you are in that same path as me. It's just like first thing in the morning. I try not even to grab my phone now. I'm like really conscious about that. I'm like, nope, don't even look over there. Talk to God first and foremost.
Last person every day.
Absolutely. And so even my relationships, right? My connecting with more people who really love and truly believe in God and know that we're here to serve as loyal servants to God and the collective. And so I'm grateful to have this moment with you and to feel so deeply in alignment and with everything. And so do you have anything else you would like to share?
Oh gosh. Just keep doing the work. I mean, there's a reason we're all awake and at the level we are at this pivotal point in time. We're all volunteers to be here to help everybody else who isn't tapped in and isn't awake. And it's the reason I am gonna go viral with the light code. It's the reason that I'm doing these tapestries and these clothes, because it's something that happens on a subatomic level for people. When they see it, it activates. And so any way that I can activate and be that generator, I'm going to do it. Like the more people that wake up, the better we're going to get, is how we stop the darkness. A beautiful thought about dark matter. I went to school for physics. I'm a hairdresser with a physics degree, which is kind of funny, right? Because I was going to
study aerospace.
Okay, so I'm a physics major with a statistics minor because I was going to be a doctor.
I love it.
And the MCAT is mostly physics and chemistry, and I really don't like biology. So it was like, and I like to problem solve, so it worked out great. But dark matter, we talk about dark matter in quantum physics, and the actual of dark matter is it doesn't exist. All matter is light. The dark matter we see is because it's another realm and dimension where the light exists. So even when you don't know the light is there, it still is.
Absolutely. Love it. I could talk quantum stuff all day. It's one of my favorite. I literally tell people all the time I live in quantum worlds. Some days I can't get off the spaceships.
No, I'm constantly like, oh, you still think that time is a real constraint? no, time is not linear, it's simultaneous. All that matters is right here, right now, so be present.
And it's interpersonal, you know what I mean? Because like they say, if you're having a rough day, you think the day's going slow. If you're having a great day, the day may go fast to you. And that's so time is irrelevant. It's definitely not fully real.
Time is rhythm. That's the universal law of time. Time is rhythm.
Yeah.
But not. So here's a funny story. I was, checking out TikTok because I'm trying to figure out my avenue with it and I don't know it and I'm not techno savvy. So I got to figure it out. And so like there's this old interview with Prince that pops up. They're talking to Prince about birthdays and he didn't celebrate birthdays. And he said, well, you only have one birthday. You have one birthday and one death day. And the rest of it is not a birthday. You're not born again every year on that day. You have one birthday.
Yeah.
And that is so poignant and true. And then he was wearing sunglasses the whole time, like Prince would. And he takes his sunglasses down and he goes, that's why my ass don't age. And I just started dying laughing. And I was like, well, if you don't mark the years, I guess you don't. And he didn't look like he had aged a bit.
I mean, if you know the secrets of the universe, just
right.
let you know.
And I'm like, well, maybe that's why since I was like 18, I don't mark birthdays. I mark revolutions around the sun.
Yeah, I call them New Year's. I'm just like, Happy New Year. Like it's just enough, but I have no idea what year it is.
Well, today is Happy Year's. It's the galactic.
Yeah. So there's 1,000 New Years at this point throughout the year. And and so it's like you never know what year it is. I'm probably really like 20. I mean, in my spirit, I feel very young still. And I definitely don't agree with the whole time and birthday dates and things like that. I'm so bad. Like even the other day, I was like thinking I was 4 days ahead. Like I was living 4 days ahead in the future, and everyone's like, "Yeah, it's Thursday," and I'm thinking it's like Monday, and I'm like, I'm already, y'all gotta catch up because I can't anymore. I can't slow down anymore. It's starting to get too much for me, but. I said that to my one friend not too long ago. It might have been Leah actually, where I was just like, or Lindsay, or who knows, one of the soul sisters. Where I was like, I understand why sometimes I hit these moments of like deep pause that are super uncomfortable. I think a lot of what I went through this last year was I needed to pause a little bit. I needed to slow down because I was living way too quantum forward leaping, and then I needed to clear stuff out so I could be more present engaged for my next leap. But I told probably two people that, probably Lindsay and Leah, like I'm pretty sure I'm slowed down because I'd be living too far in the future and I gotta wait for everyone else to kind of get somewhere close to it, so that way we can all somewhat evolve together in some sort of sense. So
and it's fun about at night while your frequency is so high that you're quantum leaping and going through wormholes of time back and forth, because those are open for travel in the astral. The soul doesn't get tired, the body does. So you're tethered to the body by a silver cord, and you go and do a lot of your soul work while your vehicle is resting. I guess that was the topic of the day for me in the studio, was learn how to disconnect from your onboard computer that's the program that tries to keep you tapped in, and learn how to connect to the actual brain, the neuroreceptors in the heart, the soul, the subconscious. Because think of it like this, it's like your onboard computer for your car. So my brain is not actively tapped in anymore. My brain is telling my body to breathe. My brain is telling my body to flow blood, to pump my heart, to get rest, to do the things that an onboard computer would do for your car. And my soul, my etherical brain, is the one who's driving the ship now. So it's when you finally learn how to disconnect that program to where the car is driving itself and start driving your car again.
I love that, because people yeah, no, I love that. And I know for me, like people are always like, how do you do all that you do? And I'm like, I don't live in the same time. I don't know. There's no such, like, it just, I do. And that's all that there is for me, right?
You don't think that you can't. And that's why.
And then going back to kind of what you were saying about like the sleep and going places, I have these weird spouts where I'm in the middle of the day, I have to nap. Like I absolutely have to take a nap. I will crash on the floor. And then when I get out, I know I've been somewhere, someone called me to come do some work. And then it's okay, she can go back to whatever else she was doing. And that happened to me even yesterday. I was like in and out of this like 30-minute cat nap, but it was like, I need you to come do work. then you can go back to this other dimension and do whatever bullshit you got to do over here. And it was like, I'm like, y'all can't be like calling me that hard so fast because like, you know, I'm in the middle of trying to get my life together over here. So I too run into those moments where realizing, and I've told people a lot about a lot of my dreams where like I've been in the military and other places like saving kids, and bombs are blowing up next to me and I'm literally experiencing being in these armies and saving people's lives, or like just having these really wild experiences that I know like when I get out of them I remember them, number one. So I know like some of this stuff is supposed to be embedded in me where it's like you're doing this kind of work because like you're going to keep going back and forth. But then even these wild naps that just come and hit me out of nowhere. I mean, literally, my body's just like, I would go from being super high, motivated, it's like, bloop, 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 done, depleted out of nowhere. And it's like, okay, I have to take a nap. And coming back out of it, it's like, oh, there was work to be done. And it could be a 30-minute nap, it could be a 3-hour nap. But at the end of the day, it's just my soul going to do whatever it's being called to do in the other spaces. And so
how often do you ground and do you release that energy? Like, you don't know where you went and help, but you know you pulled something negative for somebody, so you carry that back with you to this plane. So how often do you actually go and sit and release it?
I mean, I do work every day personally. The work I'm doing in those other spaces are always like, it's always serving. I'm still in the service mode and saving kind of mode. Like I said, a lot of mine are me doing military tasks in other spaces. Like I'm military, and it's funny because like my whole life people have asked if I'm military and I'm not. But then when I started like having these deep dreams of me being gone, it was like, oh no, I know why, because my soul alerts them like this bitch on other planets and will blow shit up and come and SWAT team you guys real quick, which is no surprise because I have that kind of attitude with work and stuff. But it's definitely fun to do that. But then like you said, I come back and I definitely trying to ground, whether it's moving the body, walking outside and standing and earthing again. Writing, I used to be a pretty avid writer, and I lately have started a new like spiritual journal. So I'm, you know, things that are coming through with like just my day-to-day spiritually, I'm writing down. I'm definitely grounding into more stuff with God. So that way it's like when I have those moments, it's like, okay, what is that lesson? What are you teaching me? Or what is it that I need to integrate into this body now that I've been through the experience? And so, yeah, do my sound healing. So I definitely try, especially more so now that I feel healthier after losing my dad, my grandpa, my stepmom. I feel like,
I lost my too.
You did. And it's so hard, comes out of nowhere. And you're just like you fall apart, you break into 1,000 pieces, and it's okay. Like that's where I needed to be, because now my soul's more lit up to express the pain and the suffering, and then it awakens other people to know they're not alone and they're going through it, and you're here and you can understand. But I just felt like I just could not keep up. And even now, I was talking to Leah before this, I was like, there's just, my soul's ready and my body and my spirit's still like working and processing through a lot of the grief, but like my soul is getting ramped up, which means I know I'm working through a lot because I'm getting ready. I'm getting ready to unleash a lot of new things. And so I definitely am trying to lean into grounding here, even though I'll be all up here and y'all can't see my hands. Some of you won't see my hands, but they're up.
The beautiful practice I do is on the way home, I stop at the beach and I kind of sit on the ground and by the water, and I ask Father, Mother, God, and the universe, and to pull everything that I may have absorbed is not of service to my higher good or the higher good or is negative, to pull it out, because I'll pull stuff out of people when they can't release it and I'll release it for them. And so to pull all of that out of me and take it to the core, the center of everything, and turn it into something positive and place it back out where it could be the greatest service to the collective good. And to help a lot, because I did a lot of the other stuff like you're talking about, but it seems like there was always this residual something in there, and just acknowledgement and asking for removal and reversal to make it become someone else's blessing, someone's pain to become a blessing. Seems to really help, like a rapid charge. You know what I'm saying? Like rapid.
So what is the phrase again, or the saying again that you use, so that way other people can maximize on it?
I say, Father, God, Mother Earth, and the universe, please pull anything that I may have absorbed knowingly or unknowingly out of the core of my being to the core of the center of the universe and turn it into something positive and place it back out where it could be of the greatest service to the highest of good. As above, so is below, and so it shall be.
I love that. That's beautiful. Thank you so much. And I'll get that from you again written out so that way we can post it. And so that way everybody also has it visually for themselves as well, including myself. So just thank you so much for being such a well of wisdom and just such a bright light, and it's such a great opportunity to connect with you a little bit deeper. I think we only really got to connect when we were in the deck, right? That was like our first like actual meet, and here we are again. So thank you.
We're connected to all the same people through other people. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
sometimes it's like, I don't know about you, but being claircognitive is like a lot of times I can tap into somebody else's energy through somebody else.
Oh, yes.
So it's like, the love that the collective has for you allows me to tap into that, to etherically feel what you're about and who you are. And so I just instantly know you. And so I don't have to go through that like awkward, well, I haven't really talked to you, whatever.
Yeah.
We all intersected this soul contract at this time for a reason, because we all badass warriors here to wake everybody up and do the, it's just recognizing that you're here to do the work and actually doing the work.
Absolutely. And the thing is, we all awaken in our own divine timing for sure, and I think I've been preaching that a little bit more because it's something I've got to like keep in my mind too, is it's all working in your favor, no matter how comfortable it is. And then, it's all working in the divine timing that is supposed to be.
And somebody else wake up may not be the time you think it should be. So you've got to respect that.
I've had those moments where I just talked to a girlfriend about that. I did Aya with her and her partner at the time, about two years ago, something like that. And
Right.
I just had that, like that wake where it was like I was seeing things clear, but like spirit was just like, nah, you gotta let them do their own work. And I was like, all right, but I'll just back up. And so, like 2 years later, her and I've really leaned into each other a lot more because she's done the work and spirit got to her and awakened her to the things that need to be awakened. And so her and I've had those conversations of like, I was like, she's like, I'm always open to you. And I said, nah, it wasn't my place to say anything. You want to receive me well, most likely if I had said something. So listen to that voice about things like that too.
I believe in all those natural tools and devices that God gave us through plant medicines that they don't want us to have. I've had those, and those are usually where I go for guidance anyway. So yeah, to see what's on the other side and to go through the portal and go through the wormhole and actually be in the presence of and realize it is nothing like you imagined it was going to be. But it's so much more spectacular than you could have ever imagined it was to be. And me and my crazy prints and patterns and eclecticness and techno colors. And I'm like, this is why I do this. Because this is what, it's not like bland and white and dull and, it's not gray bearded man up there, it's like you've never imagined before, like more color spectrums than you even thought were real, and to actually see them and to know that's what you're in the presence of, it's amazing. And it just sucks that society tries to keep us from those.
It does. And, as we keep doing the work, it's going to keep opening the door for everybody to feel able to lean into whatever form will awaken and open them and be more conscious about their ability to feel into all that space, and really feel God and feel all of us at the true maximum like energy that it is, which is probably why I vibrate and do the absolute most, because I be feeling it. I be feeling it.
Mm-hmm. It's what gets me out of bed.
Absolutely. Because I tell you, it's been hard to get out of bed. So I understand that completely. And so I love it.
Yeah. I try to respect when it's tired, but yeah, it's been tired. It seems like downloads and the energies coming at us are a lot more draining than they once were. But I think it's just activating dormant DNA is not an easy task. They didn't say it was going to be easy.
Yeah.
I think when we signed a mission, they didn't even say it was going to be fun. They said, do you want to be a part of something that no one's ever been a part of and wake a planet up and take it through transcendence? Do you want to experience this? And we went, oh, hell yeah, put me there. what were we thinking?
No, I always joke about this because I feel it in my soul. But you ever seen the movie Sparta? Okay. Remember when he got like kicked in the gut into that hole? Yeah, that was me. I was like, no, I'm good, guys. Like, I'm good. I've had a great time. This has been a fun ride. And they're like, yeah, but you're one of the greatest. You're going back. And I'm like, nah, nah, nah. I said no this time. And it was like, we didn't ask you. And Spartan kicked me in. And I was like, I'm coming back for you.
See, and I go with Army of Darkness, Bruce Campbell. Do you
Oh
know
yeah.
that?
Oh yeah, yeah.
So, the cemetery, and it's like all of a sudden, like there's a skeleton coming out of the grave and he gets knocked in the head with a sword and he goes, "Thank you, sir. Can I have another?" I was like, "Thank you
I'm
so
over here.
much."
I
He's
don't
going,
care. I don't care how much I'm good at my job. I'm over it.
yeah.
And that's but you're right, it's been coming in heavy, it's been coming in hot, and that's because, if you do follow the Bible, Revelation, there's a lot in progress and clearing out that dark space. It's gonna happen and we always win. So that's just the rule of the game.
Comes. That's the thing with the darkness. The light always comes eventually.
Yes, indeed. Anita, do you have anything else you want to share? Do you have any events that you're hosting? Are you going to be at any workshops, selling any, vending anything?
I'm not vending until October. I have my tie-dyes available at Two Blondes and a Moonchild locally, in North Myrtle Beach. And I have a beautiful light code tapestry up on the wall that's available if anybody feels energetically bound and tied and they want to bring it back to their studio or where they're doing healing work. I promise you the light code activation is for real in that sucker. I was like, I've got to put it up just so anybody that walks in the store gets that effect from it. So yeah, the only thing I got coming up is I guess I'm going to figure out how to work TikTok and start activating the world.
Do you have a website? You have a website?
I have just right now, I have on Instagram, I have Deadchickdyeing.
Okay.
Because when I didn't want to be a tie-dyes by Anita, and I was trying to, and I love the Grateful Dead. I follow the Grateful Dead, and so I had a rib head pulled in my back, and I couldn't breathe, and I'd been a long time since I had one of those, and so I literally got in the jacuzzi tub. I was sleep deprived for 4 days. I was in so much pain, and the jets hit my back, and I was finally able to relax. And I relaxed so much that I went under the water and masturbated a little. And I come up spitting and coughing the water out. And I'm a dead chick dying over here. And I was like, dying over here. That's what I'm going to call it.
I love that. That's so cute and so fun how it comes about sometimes. So what I'll do though is I'll make sure I get your tags, and then that way if anybody wants to reach out for any goodies, I know I'm gonna take a look as well. I know I see your stuff. Lindsay literally was just like, oh, I've got one of Anita's outfits on, and I was like, oh, that's cute. Okay.
I light coded Lindsay too.
Of course. That's my soul sister, like 200%. So
she said the night that I got this from Sarah, she said, I know you're my sister, and we were in Atlantis together.
Ooh.
I was, I'm not arguing.
Right. I know Lindsay and I have been around this block too many times. So
yeah, I feel that way with her too. Yeah.
But I love that dress. It was gorgeous. Yeah. It was gorgeous. I think she was wearing it. She might be wearing it today or yesterday. Okay. Sure. Yeah. So I'm definitely going to take a look at what you have to offer as well. And so I just want to thank you for your time, and thank you for the activation, the kickstart. I could definitely, it was funny because as we're sitting here, my ears started like getting that feeling again, and I could hear like singing of it, and I was like, no, I'm not singing to people. So I was like, I'll sing in my bedroom, and this is just where it's gonna stay. But as confidence gains itself, I'm sure I might TikTok a song or two. So but
we'll revisit in a couple of weeks or so after I've got the TikTok up and running, and we'll revisit it and we'll see where your light code activation is taking you.
Okay. I'm game for that. I definitely feel it already. And I, like you said, I definitely probably need to be reminded. I haven't really done much with it after my activation like 3 or 4 years ago. So it was just the seed was planted a little bit here and there. It's been sprinkled. And like I said, after our first like convo for the podcast, it kind of was like, okay, here you go. So
You posted it, and literally spirit guide was like, and I was like, what? And I'm like, okay. And then it was like we were having the conversation, and it was like as we were having the conversation, spirit Skyra is like, yeah, because she needs this, and this will help you, but this is really about her, which is the way it usually works for me. It has to be symbiotic. It has to be co-beneficial. And it's like she's like, she just needs to be reminded what she already knows, because she's not doing her practice with it.
Killing me, small.
That was my message. That's what my guide was telling me, was like, okay, you got to activate it, but you're not practicing, and you're supposed to activate others, so we got to get you a kickstart.
Oh Lord. Okay, well, I will meditate on that and keep listening to the twang in my ear. But guys, thank you so much for tuning in. This was such a great convo, really lit my spirit up. And Nita, you're such a blessing. You're such a beautiful soul, and we're so lucky to have you here on this ride with us. And so all her information will be below in links, so that way you can reach out to her. And then once she gets her TikTok up and rolling, I'm sure we'll get some more stuff out there. So, guys, have a blessed evening, and I appreciate you all.
Thanks.